Hey YouTube, Shelko for here. So you're gonna go get a colonoscopy, and you got a slew of questions, and you want some answers. So I hope it can help you out with that. I had my colonoscopy about 2 weeks ago. My mom had hers the same week, and Andrea had hers 3 days after mine. So I've got a bunch of information about the whole prep procedure that you might be interested in. So I had my colonoscopy Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and they wanted me to be there at 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning. So let's work back from there. What I started to do on Sunday was just eat primarily cans of Campbell chicken noodle soup, and I had two. I had one for lunch and I had one for dinner. And the logic there is that, you don't want to eat anything that's too heavy. And the thought is that the Campbell's soup is essentially mush anyway. So you want to have your last meal be something like that. So I ate that Sunday. Sunday. That was my last meal. On Monday, I woke up, and what I did was, first thing in the morning, I started drinking it was like a 96-ounce big clear apple juice, and I drank that until about 1 in the afternoon. At 1 in the afternoon, I had diarrhea, so I figured I'm well on my way to a full cleanse. Now, the prep kit that they gave me was a 2-part job called soup prep. I took the first part of the soup prep thing at about 5:30 in the afternoon. Now, what I had heard from other people who had gone through this experience before me was they preferred the soup prep thing to be cold. I put mine in the refrigerator about an hour and a half before I was going to drink it. In hindsight, I don't think it really matters, because when I took the second one, it was room temperature. So whether it was cold or whether it was room temperature really didn't have any effect on the palatability of the thing. So what I did was I prepared the thing at 5:30, cold like I said. I got the thing there in the glass, and I got a straw in my hand, and I'm looking at it, and at the last, now don't get me wrong, I had seen a lot of people saying that the way to go was by sucking it down through a straw, and that's the route I was going to take. And I looked at that thing and I thought, it's going to take me 35, 45, a minute to suck that thing down through the straw, or I can probably chug it in about 10 seconds. So, last minute change of plans, that's what I did. I chugged the thing down. It took probably, like I said, about 10 seconds. Now, as far as taste, I like to think if you took a cheap grape soda and let it go flat, and then added a spoonful of salt to it, that's along the lines of what you're looking to drink down. It's not the most enjoyable thing in the world, but it's not god-awful either. It's a necessary part of the process. So, okay. So, I drank the thing down at 5:30. Now, I was concerned, not knowing what to expect, that at 1 minute after, I was going to be heading to the toilet. That wasn't the case. It took about half an hour to 45 minutes for it to really start kicking in. And by that I mean you get that weird indigestion feeling in your stomach, like you ate something that doesn't agree with you. And then finally, when I decided I have to go to the bathroom, you got about a minute warning. So it's not like I thought, again, it was going to be one of these, I got to go to the bathroom, and unless I'm sitting right there on the toilet, I was going to have a real mess. Well, that wasn't the case. You got about a minute. Now, what I would suggest is that the first time you go to the bathroom, do not bear down. Just sort of sit down and let time and gravity work in your favor. And the reason I say that is because if you bear down or apply any sort of muscular pressure at all, envision throwing a hand grenade in your toilet, okay? So you're going to have a hell of a mess if you bear down. Just go, like I said, let gravity and time work its wonders while you're sitting there on the toilet, and it'll all come flowing out of you. Now, I figured while the back door was open, so to speak, what I should do is run as much water through the pipe as possible. So from about 5:30 until, I drank probably 3/4 of a gallon of water. I would drink water, and 5 or 10 minutes later, feel like I got to go to the bathroom, and I'd go in there and I'd have have a sit down. Now, for those 3 hours, it was primarily water going out my butt. No peeing. About 9:30 or 10 o'clock, when I started to have to pee, I figured now's the time to throttle back on the water, because the soup prep stuff wasn't basically doing its job anymore. So I stopped. I say that because you can drink a lot of water to the point where water becomes toxic, so don't do anything stupid like that. If any questions, look on the internet, ask your doctor, what have you. But be aware of that. Okay, so at 10 o'clock, pretty much the soup prep stuff had run its course, and I was done. Now, I went to bed and set the alarm clock. Now, we'll talk about the mistake I made of scheduling in a little bit, but the fact of the matter is, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning with the idea that I'm going to take my next dose of soup prep, and we'll spend the next 3 or 4 hours going to the bathroom, the final cleanse, and be at the doctor's office at 9 a.m. The mistake I made was I chugged down the second batch of soup prep, which the second allotment is a little worse tasting than the first, and I think it's because you know what's coming. But at 4:30, I chugged that stuff down again, no straw, and I made the mistake of laying down on the couch to watch TV. And I fell asleep on the couch and woke up an hour and a half later. That's when I had to start going to the bathroom. What had happened was I become sedentary and was not working with gravity, so that hour and a half really flew by. Long story short, I then began to look at my watch and worry that I wasn't going to be completely clean before going to the doctor's office. And as a result, when I got to the doctor's office at 9 o'clock in the morning, the time up until the procedure, when I was waiting to go in, I had that feeling like I need to go to the bathroom, or do I? It was not pleasant. It was, you're sitting there, you're clenching down, you don't want to shit your pants and stuff, but you're like, you don't know what your status is anymore. Now, as far as what actually goes on in the doctor's office, it's pretty uneventful from their standpoint, as well as from yours. And by that I mean they're doing this pretty much every day, all day. So to them, seeing your ass is no big deal. So you don't have to be embarrassed of it. And the fact of the matter is, they don't really make much out of it. It's not like you get laying there on the operating table and somebody's like, "Holy shit, we're gonna need the 4-inch funnel in here." Nothing like that. They lay you on your side, cover you up with a blanket, give you an idea as far as what's going to happen. You go to sleep, you wake up, they give you a report, and you walk out the door, you drive home. Now, you feel hungry. Not too hungry, because you haven't eaten in a day and a half basically, but you want to eat. Now, I didn't have any problems with anything that I ate, and then Andrea didn't have any. For Andrea, we had what do we have? We had deli sandwiches. So it's not a big deal. I mean, it's not like you need to go home and eat just like rice and mashed potatoes or anything. What else can I tell you? Let's see. Now, the other worry I had was that after the appointment, I was going to, again, continue to have soup ass all afternoon. That's not the case. You're not going to the bathroom at all. In fact, the fact of the matter is, since you've been cleaned out, and I guess what they do is maybe they pump some air in there to help guide the camera, you're going to spend the whole afternoon really farting. I mean, there's a lot of farting going on, and in fact, it was one of the things that the nurses warned us about was, be aware of the fact that you're going to be farting a lot. So I'll just tell you that much. Anyway, that's about all I've got. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I know it's a sort of a miserable experience that nobody wants to go through, but if you consider the option or the alternative of getting colon cancer, getting a colonoscopy seems like an easy way to avoid that. And yeah, the procedure, or the prep work leading up to it sucks, but it's basically not something that you don't do every day, hopefully already. Fact of the matter is, you just can do it a lot more. Oh, let me just talk one last thing about wiping. All right, let's back up for a minute. Do not skimp and get cheap toilet paper. Go out and get yourself a roll of the good stuff, because you're going to need it. Now, the other thing is, however much toilet paper you use normally, double that, all right? And the reason is because you're going to have some soak through. Now, I'm not going to go into what that is, but why don't you figure it out on your own. Next thing, after about the 4th or 5th wipe, you're not wiping anymore because you're going to be raw. So you're going to use the toilet paper to dab at it. And that's okay because it's pretty much just clear liquid anyway. So you don't have to worry about, like, you know, not feeling too clean about it. Although the fact of the matter is, you're not going to feel too clean about it. Second thing is baby wipes. Nice to throw a baby wipe in there now and then. But again, it's going to reach the point where it's going to feel like you're wiping with sandpaper. So you got to dab. But other than that, the experience isn't that bad. And like I said, considering the alternative, it's probably something everybody should be doing. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll answer them when I can. Otherwise, we'll talk to you later. Shelka 04 out. Thanks.